Like, comment, and subscribe.
But there is this ego to me that, or this envy of Ben Carson has a good life, and I need him as an anchor.
Okay. Are you familiar with reaction formation?
Yeah. Oh no, there's not confirmation bias. Reaction formation is
Reaction formation, Freudian defense mechanism that
no.
we turn to the opposite of what we are.
I'll just
Right, so
a
some
little tip
humans-
for the future. Don't ask me a direct question because it makes me look dumb. So never again. I know. Of course I know reaction formation. Everyone knows reaction formation. Like, come on. Like, do you know reaction formation? Like, chat knows. We shouldn't even talk about it. Everyone knows. Like, this is easy, bro.
Reaction formation is a defense mechanism.
I was gonna say that. It's a defense mechanism. Yeah, it's a defense mechanism. Yeah, Mary Jane. They changed the spider changes shapes, colors. It's a defense mechanism. Do you know what I'm talking about? Sam Raimi's Spider-Man. Yeah, everyone knows reaction for dude. I won't bowl. You won't bowl. She react for me. I'm a react Andy. I know. What are you looking at, you fucking faggot? Yo, Hanks, edit that out. Let's keep it professional. Yo, should we do a series? All right, go.
Forget it. Let's move on.
Oh man, what the fuck?
I forgot what I was saying.
Reaction formation. Everyone knows reaction formation.
Yeah, but the context, the context in which we were talking about it. You were saying, get someone in the chat to.
All right, well, chat, we lost that one. All right, wow, this is like when I lose my train of thought and they all go, please. All right, Ben Carson was
it's so hard to get a word in. What the hell?
Yeah, so Ben Carson was this is how you spike viewers, bro. Ben Carson was my anchor that, hey, there's a fucking genius and he's anchored through the Bible. I can't do that. It just didn't make sense at the time. So I anchored through Ben Carson. I'm like, I need more order in my life if I want to be respected at the dinner table like him. There's something about, outlaw is cool, but outlaw is stupid if it means you're just like every broke guy at the table. And Ben Carson was like this fucking ultimate figure of, I finished my degree, I split 2 Siamese twins with a chainsaw. Like, he was doing crazy shit. And I was like, that matured me when I was like, I want to be like Trump. I want to be like Ben. I want to be like these guys. Right? Like, I'll tell you this, bro, as much as Trump will always be my favorite president of all time. Sorry for that. But he'll always be my favorite president of all time. But I don't want to be like him, because if I really do I envy Trump's temperament that really damages him? No, because I have the same one sometimes. So I kind of like Trump doesn't read his Bible. So since he's my favorite guy, I read the Bible. Because I'm like, Trump is like the dad that he's got some.
You even know what you're talking about?
All I'm talking about is reaction formation. Everyone knows. So yeah, why is Ben Carson my anchor? This is the worst one I've ever done. Bro, I'll just turn my camera off. They're fucking posting memes of Spiz IQ. Am I spizzing? All right. Eden's not gonna Nazi 777 in chat. Why is your name Nazi 777? And explain the 12 archetype. We're not doing Jungian today. That's more for me.
Can I close off what we were talking about with porn addiction? Because can I say porn or do I have to say corn?
I like corn just so Hex doesn't have a hard job. Yeah.
Right. anyways, the idea around porn addiction is that it's built around existential loneliness, existential
Yeah.
isolation. These are things that develop in a young at a young age.
Oh,
There's a critical period in which if you don't receive that, you will pursue it for
oh
the rest
my
of your life.
God,
And
you're
the
a
act of
genius. That's what you meant by they could have a wife and still not feel it. That they're still watching that stuff. That means I said, if you have a good loving wife, a girlfriend, then how come you're watching that stuff? You could still have that and still watch.
yeah.
Okay. Someone said, here we go again. All right. I'm going to mute.
Oh, it's on me. Okay. It's impossible to gather your thoughts. But that's the argument that we would make for porn addiction. So to answer the question that somebody asked, I think last Friday, what we have to do is, I think this is where therapy becomes very important. You have to go in and almost reprocess the experiences that you had as a child. But I don't think anybody would disagree with me that there's a critical period for language, that if you don't learn a language between the ages of, let's say, 2 and 6 maybe, you may never be able to learn a language, in adulthood. And I don't mean like a language like to the syntax and things like that, but the ability to form coherent sort of like sentences and things like that. There's a lot of studies that have been done that have shown that it's very difficult to do that if you don't receive if you don't if you're not exposed to that sort of environment at that early age. So the argument would be the same for loneliness, right? That if you don't experience a sense of connection with somebody in your life at a young age, it becomes very difficult in adulthood, even if you're surrounded by good friends, and you have a girlfriend and all that stuff. So that's the argument that I would make for porn addiction, right? In porn we seek some sense of connection, right? Because porn has that, and masturbation have the ability to mimic some of these experiences.
Yeah. And for the metaphysical answer, I would say, bro, when I start thinking there's a monkey on my back, a demon, and that's why I'm lustful, it helps, bro. When I think of invisible forces penetrating my fucking skull, I go, yo, I don't want to live. Like, here's the greatest way to something you should meditate on if you have that addiction. Ask yourself, does it ever reach a ceiling? And if something doesn't reach a ceiling, you see the monstrosity of your problem. So when you first started watching once to twice a week, and then does it ever stop? Or does it start becoming every day and then twice a day? And when you see that kind of momentum, you get terrified of this sin. You know what I mean? But a lot of people do this thing where it's like, hey, everyone's doing it. Yeah, but statistically, as the purchasing power skyrocketed, everyone's depressed. You want to be everyone. And that's why I love the outlaw nature of some radicals is
But
they
the archetype of the outlaw is very reactive, right? It's very hard to feel a sense of control if your entire being is predicated on a response to what the environment is demanding from you, right? That you go to the opposite response.
yeah,
Right?
that's
The
when I
argument
realized
that
how
we make in psychology is that we strive for control, and that's actually a good thing. There's a lot of people that talk about like, oh no, you can't. Yeah, you should pursue the ability to control the things that you can. But if you're an outlaw, if you manifest that archetype, it's very reactive, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, because have you seen in the last few months, it's almost like magic that all of my bad habits that you'd say my working hard bad habits, and I'd be like, "Fuck you talking about? I'm working hard. I'm doing this many hours," and you see in the last few months, I'm a different animal of like, I get it all done with the calls, with the YouTube, with the clicks, with the Twitter. I get paid every single angle, not just one streaming 30 hours a day shit. And I fixed a bunch of my problems with that whole, if you are this reactive outlaw, how is it really you? Because you're waiting for the TV to show you this mirror that you don't want to be like. And I'm thinking to myself, I know like ideas and stuff are not authentic, and I don't know how. Well, I don't want to get into the philosophical fucking weeds of this shit, but I am still remember saying, "Oh my god, the I've done enough for today mentality is, man, it's so much healthier." Like you have a checklist of things you do, and then it stops. You don't just keep adding checks because it damages your sleep and the next day and stuff. And that's what I'm like. If you're as reactive as Zherka, aren't you admitting you're being a woman? Because the masculine is not, it's proactive and reactive, but it's the masculine. Hey, our nation got hit. Oh, we got to react. Full, put all troops on the Finland border. Like, that's not the masculine. The masculine is going to take its time and go, let's do this correct because we only have one shot. And that's when I was like, wow, this badass outlaw term is actually kind of, it can get, and in its extremes especially, it can get very feminine where you're pretty much like this abused dog. Like think about think of a liberal outlaw that exists. So they react to the pandemic on the TV, and bro, I swear to God, freaking out over that pandemic on the television, I swear to God, rapidly aged and diseased a lot of people. Because when you look at stress as stress is the precursor to death. Like that means you don't get hemoglobia or brain hemorrhaging without the stress built up. You don't get that final fucking fatal episode without the buildup. So when I looked at it like that, I was like, whoa, let me try this Beethoven in the morning, get the workout. Let's try this scheduled thing. And thank God I built my life to where if I have an off day, my money still goes up. But I'll tell you this, man. The hustle mindset of the American, so we're talking about the winners, that they hustle, right? No one has ever lost hustling, right? I like you'll always get paid. You reap what you sow. That's in the Bible, guys. But you'll always get paid for your hard work. The only thing that's tricky about that is you don't know the due date of when you get paid. So it could be in a year from now, 2 years from now, and the longer it is, usually it's a bigger payout. So a lot of people, have you seen those guys who go very viral, like Jordan Peterson? All that fucking intellectual enterprise of work in his psychic development, it didn't get paid until he was fucking 55 years old, and then it got paid with 55 fucking million dollars. So the average fucking victim mindset person would be like, bro, 50 years, he read all that, was the greatest professor, blah, 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 and he just made a professor's salary. And it's like, no, eventually the fucking floodgates open, and look at his life now. But now the traumatizing part is when you're going through the process of being a broke person and you're waiting to get paid for your hard work, there's a psychotic energy you build up of when is it my turn to get paid, So yeah, Maybe that's a little off topic. All right.